Allow me to introduce myself again. I'm Kyle Ellen. I'm a singer, songwriter, author, and speaker. I have a master's in psychology. I don't have my license to counsel. I'm not a doctor, but I wrote an autobiographical self-help format book about music and healing. Every chapter title is exactly the same title of a song, and that's never been done before. It's kind of different, original. There's 17 different songs, and they match 17 parts of the book, chapters. So this chapter that I'm going to talk about today, it's very serious. It's one of those things where the reason why I wore this flowers and the colorful is because what happened to me was anything but plain. And it's just kind of stunning, shocking a little bit. It always has been. Took me a long time to work it through. But it's chapter 9. It's my autobiography. So this is what I'm talking about. And the chapter is called Secret Agent Man. And that's right, the song, it's one of my only 2 cover songs of the project. Imagine What's Inside is the project, the book, everything's named that. And it is the song that is performed and made famous by Johnny Rivers, Secret Agent Man, the one that started all the secret agent stuff. It started everything. And I recorded it in a modern, updated version that I really like. It's fun. But today I want to talk about after my husband had his accident, which is on another video. He fell 2 stories. He lived to be fine. And after my son, having to take care of my younger son, who seemed to be having some definitely odd behavior, not looking his mom in his eyes, and finally realizing he's highly creative disorder. A new disorder I'm establishing, only because we need labels, I guess, but he's just highly, highly creative. But after that, I had promised myself the first night of the accident, of my husband's accident, after the hospital, after I came home, put 2 kids to bed and started to accept the shock of my day, that I was going to get through this family was going to get through this, but I was going to go into the studio, a recording studio, my dream, what I've always wanted. And I was like, I don't care what we have to do, if we have to, borrow against the house, whatever. I just felt this compelled feeling that I needed to do that. So when my husband was better and my son was better, then I went, and my husband had an idea of a studio. So I went to a studio, knew nothing about it. So all you musicians and people that wonder what's it like, listen to the story and beware. I went in, I sang, my husband went with me. It was a lot of fun. I had a good time. It was a new world for me. I met the worker that was working there, and I met the owner. But then when I went back the next time, which was 5 months or so, I didn't go with my husband. He didn't want to go again. And I went by myself because I thought, I've volunteered at school, I've raised kids, I've had jobs, and I can do that. It's a fun place. And when I showed up, the person that I thought I would be working with, the helper, the co-worker, the employee, he wasn't there. And it became a whole different thing. And first, before I go any further, I'd just like to take a quiz, have you do a pop quiz and tell me, do you know where is the United States Copyright Office closest to where you are? Do you know? Okay, everybody out there, take a guess. Where is the Copyright Office, the United States of America Copyright Office closest to you? Okay, and then second, before I answer that question, can you tell me, do you think it's possible for anybody in the last, ever in the history, I guess, of the United States copyright, or the last 20 years or 30 years, or to have switched anything in the Copyright Office to make somebody else own a copyright that they had no rights to? Do you think that the Copyright Office of the United States of America could have been compromised ever? Do you or do you not? Okay, well, let me tell you. The answer to the first question, where is the Copyright Office closest to you? There's only one. It's in Washington, D.C. It is the one and only United States of America Copyright Office. So just so everybody knows, because when I went through what I went through, I talked to a very important high-up person that I would have thought, in law enforcement, we'll just say in that category, would have known. There's no other. There's only one. And it is a very precious place to me and any musician that has ever written and copywrote their songs. The copyright is supposed to be whenever the song is created. You know, that would be in a perfect world on an honor system, in a wonderful world. So please, if you are writing music with anybody, do not even believe that you should not have paperwork signed or something in writing to make sure you can never lose your copyright. But that day that I went, the second time I went to the studio, I saw the owner, and I call him in my book Egg Dolly, and that's the name he has. And all I'll say is I am related, 4 generations, the famous, very famous poet, William Cullen Bryant. He was declared first citizen, honored first citizen in New York City. Look up William Cullen Bryant, famous poet. So Mr. Egg Dolly, the one that owned the studio, said, no, I'm not going to work with you at the time that you had agreed you're coming. I need to work on this, and you're going to have to wait unless you help me, because I'm having writer block. I didn't really understand writer block that much, but I kind of understood. And what he didn't know is the 20-minute drive there, I was already singing a song, making up a song. And if you want to know the whole entire story, the details, please read the book, because it's painful to go back there in my mind, because what happened was I did start singing. I recorded a song with this Mr. Egg Dolly, a lot about By My Side and a city. And when I went back a week later, he denied that I had recorded anything with him. Anything. And there was a point when I recorded this song, and it's a complicated story, but I recorded 95% of the lyrics and most of the melody. And people go, oh, well, everybody's had a copywritten song or copy song or something stolen. What's the big deal? Okay, well, I'll tell you what the big deal is. Another question, pop question. How long does statute of limitations run out on a federal crime? Do you know? Because there was a time in my life when this was going on, I didn't know. Is it 3 years? What is it? How long is statute of limitations on a federal crime? Well, I'll tell you, it never runs out. It's the only thing that keeps me sane every day of my life. Because when I realized what he did to me, even though he gave me the song and said it wasn't me singing, but it was me singing. But when your husband's been critically injured for 3 years and you're a caregiver, you know, and somebody starts messing with you after that, and all the other things that got involved, because a song always, when you write a song, it comes from a place. It may come from a fantasy in the future, or it may come from something in the back, or, you know, but it comes from a place. It may come from just your feeling of love or humanity, but it comes from a place. And this song that I created that day, that he later said, that's not you singing on this tape. And trust me, when you hear this song, because someday it's coming, the truth is going to set me free. But there is no doubt that this person, blackmailed somebody and switched a tape in the Copyright Office, the one and only United States of America in Washington, D.C., along the mall, that replaced a song he had there with the song we created. And the only thing he knew was how to blackmail somebody in the Copyright Office. Think about it. That's big. That's huge. Like, I assume they would have things in two different areas. They would have a double copy where no one employee could ever go get a tape, record another song, put the tape in. Like, you would think that could never happen, but there is no doubt in my mind that is exactly what happened, because I know that I created that song that day because I was creating it in the car on the way down. And what I didn't realize was that song came from a place in my heart that came from a 5-year-old girl that I was at one point, that was abused sexually in a horrible way. And that's where that song came from. It's called City of Lies. No one ever cries, no one ever needs to. It was a make-believe place that helped me to survive and get through what I went through at a young age, that I blocked out until I sang this song. And I do believe in God. That helps. And I know that nobody can sing like that. That's me. I went back to my mentor. I hadn't seen her for many years. Once I got married and things got a little more difficult, I didn't contact her and we drifted apart. So I called her out of the blue thinking, he's saying this isn't me, but the only one that can sing like that is either me or my mentor, Rue, that could sing like that up high and do that I know of. And I went back to see her and I could hardly sing 4 notes above middle C, which if you all that aren't musicians on it or anything on a piano, that's like this. I sing 2.5 octaves up. I sing more like, the idea that I couldn't sing, 1 octave above middle C, I couldn't sing this. It was like a cobra, Rue said, around your neck. She almost thought it wasn't me. She supervised my masters, a portion of my masters. And when she realized what in the world, and I explained, and I said, I need you to listen to this tape because I know you got the best ears in town. Because singing great is about listening great. And I said, you tell me. If it's not me, you tell me. And she waited 2 days and she called me up and she said, I waited 2 days, Ellen, because I wanted to listen to it over and over and over. 1, because it is incredible. And 2, because I wanted to make absolutely sure that I was right. But she said, from the minute I heard it, I knew, that's you. Okay. So now I have a tape marked with a name. And the name was the name I said that day with Mr. Egg Dolly, this recording studio owner. When he left the room and started saying from the other room, you got to think of a name. What's your name going to be? You're an artist. You got to have a name. And so I said what I felt like that day after being a caregiver for 3 years, having survived so much with not really a lot of help from anyone in a physical way, running a household with a critically injured person and a 2, 3, 4, a 2-year-old and an 8-year-old for 3 years. That when I said my name, I said, call me Ann Iceberg. So he heard Ann Berg. I said that loud, but I said ice because I felt at that moment as cold as ice. I felt dead, man. I just felt like an iceberg, man, drifting, alone, and just like my energy was just stifled, man. Just, I didn't see the sense in why could I sing that good, and this is where my life had been. Stress and stress and stress. Caregiving is so stressful. So anyways, I came home when I realized, okay, it's me. It says Ann Berg on it. See, I knew that. It took me like from when he finally gave me the tape, Ann Berg, and said, well, I have this song, maybe I played it for you. That's what he tried to tell me. I played it for you. But he wouldn't play it for me. He goes, no, take it home and just, but when I went back, because I thought maybe he just wants me to come back and go, you are so very funny. Ha, 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 it's me. No, I went back there. He avoided first, but then I just went and decided that's it, And then he was like, okay, you're going to have to wait here. He left me inside the studio by myself for 45 minutes, thinking, I guess, that I would leave. And I thought, I'm not that kind of person. I'm going to get the answer. I'm going to follow the string. I'm going to pray and hope the answers are a blessing and not another trial or tribulation. But I'm not going to back away from trying to go forward. And finally he came in and he would not agree to it. And when he started that, it shattered me. I thought, I sang better than I've ever sang before. You have it on a recording. It's a song that I created, even though you were there playing along to wherever I was taking that song. And it's the first time I ever did that in a very, very, very long time since I was getting my master's. So we're talking a while. And it felt like heaven in that sense, that it's just easy. And I am like that. When I create songs, I don't create prolifically all the time, but I definitely have the ability. If I hear music, I hear words. I don't usually have a writer's block. I have better material and, well, maybe we got to tweak something or something like that. But anyway, so once he started telling me it wasn't me still, now mind you, it's the best. This song is like the best secret agent song you've ever heard, even though it's never been on, James Bond. The best James Bond, eerie. It is just that kind of a song. And I don't know why he did it, except for I know it just seemed to bother him that I can really create something magnificent, which I feel is just a blessing from God. I mean, I give it all to God, man. God's does this to me, where whatever's coming out of my mouth makes any amount of sense in a song, and yet alone to come off like just an award-winning James Bond song. And, I'm just trying to tell the honest truth. I know you're going, yeah, right. Don't worry. Someday I'll release it, and then you'll realize, no, I'm not crazy. And so I went and started saying things to him, which this man is so sick. He then took the words of me just falling apart, I totally crying. I couldn't even look at him because I had so much tears, because I thought, this is it. I finally have something. I could promote myself. I could maybe something, because this song is amazing. And he's saying, no, it's not you. And yet Rue said it was. So then I said different phrases of, about how my life was. I became very, very depressed, I suppose is what that was, just hopeless. And he wrote down and kept the words of what I was saying, made another song. He's a very sick person, but truth's going to set me free, and I had to realize he's not God. Don't give him that power, and it will be in God's time. The truth's going to set me free. So I went home and thought, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? And finally I realized, I looked up, like on the internet, what's crime? What's a copyright office? What do you do? What kind of crime is it? It's a federal crime. It's a federal copyright office, the United States of America. Federal crimes, you call the FBI. My father's a World War II vet. He won the silver, or he received, sorry, the Silver Star and the Purple Heart. He was injured and he volunteered for bravery above and beyond the call of duty. That's who raised me. That's who we knew was our father. So there was no way that I'm sitting here going, he broke a federal crime. He took a song that just strikes to the deepest part of me because it has to do with something I knew was just like powerful and painful to me. And expression of what happened to me as a little girl. Horrible event. And yet it still has an eerie kind of a hope or something, you know. In some way, that song. So that's what I finally thought. Okay, where's the freaking FBI? How do you find the FBI? Okay, start Googling. You'll find it. And I called. And the man that I talked to gave me a hard time, thinking I was just, you know, talking about the normal way people steal a copyright. And let's talk about that. The normal way is two people create a song and then one just decides it's theirs. You know, they don't involve the copyright office. They go then and they copyright the song. Now they've stolen it from the person. That is a more normal, ridiculously wrong way to steal a copyright. 2, 3, 4 people. And now the rule is if you're in the room, even if you didn't contribute anything to the song, you get an equal amount. Unless it's negotiated before you all start making the song. So if you're helping to create a song with somebody, sign a piece of paper. And if they won't, then stay away. And I finally did find my producers, and we did sign a piece of paper. It was a little bit wrong, so we re-signed a piece of paper. But it made us both feel better about each other because we didn't really know each other. And then we started recording and we knew each other more and we trusted each other more. And the more we knew each other, and it was like that. That's the better way. This, I just went in. I didn't know what I was doing. I needed to do it. The one good thing is he brought me back to my mentor who I stayed with and helped her as a caregiver. And Rue was a blessing in my life. But the statute of limitations, copyright, will never run out. So finally, talking to the FBI, the man asked me, so where is the closest copyright office anyway? That surprised me, but I had to explain. There's only one in Washington, D.C. It's been compromised, without a doubt. And then he asked me, okay, what is it you're trying to do? And I said, I'm trying to do what a very amazing man I once heard said. I'm trying to do what I can for my country. His name was John F. Kennedy. And I said, perhaps you've heard of him? And at that point, the guy said, are you kidding me? Yeah, and he was an amazing American. And I said, that's right, he was. So I listened, and I want to try to do what I can for my country. I'm trying to say the Copyright Office of the United States of America was compromised. And who knows if it's still safe there. It's a federal crime. And he sent an FBI agent to my house, the same house I'm recording in right now. And it was surreal, but I knew I was doing the right thing because he didn't just sit and take and copyright the song legally against, and steal it from me that way. He blackmailed somebody in the United States Copyright Office of America who was in a compromised position before his marriage, we'll say. He had something on someone, and it tore me up. I ended up paying him so that I could record 5 songs, because that was his terms, so that I could keep the right to the song that I created mostly, but we created in the same room together, that he says was not me and that I had nothing to do with. It was all his creation. But after the FBI talked to me, they told me they're going to go down there and one person just in and out, hi, just act like, yeah, she's probably, no, don't say anything like that, but just, we've got to check these things out. And then we're going to let you record, do what you want, so it's easiest on you, because it put me through a brutal amount. And if you read my whole book, you'll understand exactly how painful, I'm sure. But just pick the most horrible thing that ever happened in your life, and you wrote a song that somehow made that feel better. And then somebody said, no, you never wrote that. And I mean, I offered him everything. I'll write 1,000,000 songs for you. I'll write, And I even got him to come to my counselor, because my counselor said, see if he'll come in. And he did. But he came in, as my counselor said, Ellen, he came in to try to convince me that you're crazy and something's wrong with you. And he says, that's why. Because my counselor all of a sudden started acting like, I've never seen him act, but he goes, I have to watch my anger. That's one of my issues. So I use reverse psychology, but he says, I never dreamed that you were listening to me and believing what I was saying. But I said, no, I just was kind of like shocked, because I knew that I have trusted you for so long. I knew I could trust you again, but I couldn't understand, and now I do. So, but that's how evil somebody can be about wanting somebody else's creative work. And it can be music or it could be otherwise, but somebody's creative work. It's like a baby, man. This is like a baby to a person. This is like, some people think their cars are like babies. Well, musicians think their songs are like babies, or jewels or whatever. So there needs to be a much greater respect on that, because the pain that I went through was years of pain that I had to work on, that issue of, not letting Egg Dolly, and he knows exactly who he is. And the last time I did talk to him, I told him, I'm writing a book, and the truth will set me free. So I'm coming, don't worry. I'm coming. It's in God's time. And I do believe justice, the wheels of justice turn very slow. Ridiculously so, absolutely. But I do believe that if you do bad things will come to you. If you can do good for other people, good things will come to you. Now, maybe people would say that's naive, but I'd rather live a life like that than going around trouncing and hurting people as much as you possibly can. Are you kidding me? What a waste. So anyways, after I finished singing, recording those 5 songs, I finally told him I'm done before I recorded the last one, which I figured, because then we realized my friend Javier could record me to lay my, I had the track, the music track. Didn't need to go back. Javier would record me for free. So it was like, you know what, I'm done. And then I called the FBI, said, yep, that's it. We're going to send 2 of us, and we're going to just watch them. They told me, they can't promise. These are hard to prove and all, just can't promise, but we're going to try, see what we can do and put it on the record, because statute of limitations will never run out. So they went down there, 2 of them, one talked more intensely to him, and the other one watched, and they both came away, and they both came up with the same conclusion before the one that I had met ever came and talked to me. And he said, we have no doubt he's hiding something. And it would make the most sense that it's the something that you're saying. Because otherwise, if it had nothing to do with what we're talking to him about, why would he come off like he is hiding something? So, it's one of those things that I was so upset about. I actually paid a lie detector to lie detector me about it, because I needed something besides myself. Nobody else could say, yeah, Ellen, I know, I did it. My best friend believed me. I had a lot of people believe me. But when I got lie detectored, and I could see in the lie detector that I was telling the truth, it was one of the best moments of that time in my life, for sure. That helped tremendously for me to go, okay, God, I'll turn it over to you. But at least I have this that is like not just me, but me and this is both saying the same thing. So I don't know when something would happen or if, but I know I'm sitting in a better place than the person, Mr. Egg Dolly, that hurt me, without any doubt. You know, God still blessed me with songs now. I've sung even better than I ever dreamed because I had a cobra. I could not hardly sing. Rue rebuilt my range. It didn't take very long, a matter of a few weeks, but it took a long time for me to just feel comfortable in my skin, a long time for me to just feel like I ever want anyone to hear me sing or ever want to have anybody work with me in a studio. I worked with my friend Javier for a long time. That helped tremendously. But I just want all the songwriters out there to know that it really is messed up that anybody would steal anybody's song. Is just pathetic and very painful and very upsetting to us. And there has to be a better solution than just the Copyright Office of the United States of America if it has not been secured. I know they've changed it so it's easier to go online with it because it was a nightmare back when I was dealing with this. But I do think that somebody needs to check to make sure that there's either double recordings or nobody can get anything by themselves in and out, sneak it in a pocket in whatever way. Nobody. Because my father's corporation was given the job, my father secured it, and they computerized the patent office. And it took a long time. It was a very big billion-dollar thing, but they computerized the patent office. And it was amazing. And the people on Capitol Hill that, you know, were the committee that was overseeing and improving it and everything were just really so happy. But when my father sent somebody back to say, okay, now we'd like to do the same to the Copyright Office because we have now built the software, which is what took the most. And we can easily just do that. It's so put in the number, you know. The response was, and I quote my father, John M. Toops, it's not worth enough money. It doesn't really make, you know, they're not that valuable. That's what they said. They're not that valuable. The copyrights. So it was never computerized. Now, whether that was done now, I have no clue. Neither does my father. For sure now, because God rest his soul 2 years ago, but he didn't know, you know. So, and if that had happened, if my father, when he went, his corporation went and said, look, we just computerized the patent office. We want to computerize the Copyright Office. If they had said yes, what happened to me would have never been able to happen. But because it wasn't, somebody, and I have a name, I had a name, I told the FBI, and I actually called up to try to find information and realized that's the name. But I just wrote about all the details, everything step by step in the chapter 9, and if you want to hear the song, you can Google Secret Agent Man, Kyle Ellen. You can go on iTunes. You can go on Spotify. You can go on Amazon for the book. Or you can go on my website, and there's links to everything. My website is Kyle Ellen, KYLEELLEN.net. And so this is the last heavy subject I have to talk about. Now I get to talk about going more after I got over the first horrible experience in a studio, going even more into the music world and the little by little knowledge and what I found out and how I progressed and how I came to be able to write a book, autobiographical, about self-help and music and healing and creativity, and how I